beautiful friends. Welcome back to 365 Days of Love and Miracles with A Course in Miracles. My name is Arlene Geres, and I am so glad that you are here. Please remember to listen right till the very end, because we'll have a special treat for you. And if you enjoyed today's video, please click like and subscribe below, because this helps others to find us on YouTube. Today's lesson is lesson number 121. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. Forgiveness is one of the main pillars of A Course in Miracles. The lack of forgiveness, holding any kind of a resentment, is from the world of the ego. When I recognize that, it makes it so much easier for me to let go of anything that I might be holding against another person. I want to live in unity with God and all of creation, and I can't do that if I'm holding anything against anyone. But this lesson does even better. It tells us that forgiveness is the key to happiness. I don't know anyone who doesn't want to be happy. Let's read the lesson. Here is the answer to your search for peace. Here is the key to meaning in a world that seems to make no sense. Here is the way to safety in apparent dangers that appear to threaten you at every turn and bring uncertainty to all your hopes of ever finding quietness and peace. Here are all questions answered. Here the end of all uncertainty is ensured at last. Let's talk about it. These are incredible promises. The key to meaning, the way to happiness and peace, the way to quietness and peace, having all our questions answered, and the end of uncertainty. Pretty incredible promises, wouldn't you say? It certainly makes forgiveness worth it. Let's read on. The unforgiving mind is full of fear and offers love no room to be itself, no place where it can spread its wings of peace and soar above the turmoil of the world. The unforgiving mind is sad without the hope of respite and release from pain. It suffers and abides in misery, peering about in darkness, seeing not, yet certain of the danger lurking there. Again, this is the ego mind. There are two more paragraphs that tell us more about the ego mind. Let's read on. The unforgiving mind is torn with doubt, confused about itself and all it sees, afraid and angry, weak and blustering, afraid to go ahead, afraid to stay, afraid to waken or to go to sleep, afraid of every sound, yet more afraid of stillness, terrified of darkness, yet more terrified at the approach of light. What can the unforgiving mind perceive but its damnation? What can it behold except the proof that all its sins are real? These are pretty terrifying thoughts, and we might not be aware of them all the time. But these are the things that underlie the distractions that we use in the world. Addictions of all different sorts, our unhealthy way of living, not loving ourselves, not taking care of ourselves. These are the things that lurk in our subconscious, but there's more. Let's read on. The unforgiving mind sees no mistakes, but only sins. It looks upon the world with sightless eyes and shrieks as it beholds its own projections, rising to attack its miserable parody of life. It wants to live, yet wishes it were dead. It wants forgiveness, yet it sees no hope. It wants escape, yet conceive of none, because it sees the sinful everywhere. The unforgiving mind is in despair, without the prospect of a future which can offer anything but more despair. Yet it regards its judgment of the world as irreversible, and does not see it has condemned itself to this despair. It thinks it cannot change, for what it sees bears witness that its judgment is correct. It does not ask, because it thinks it knows. It does not question, certain it is right. In these 4 paragraphs, we have 4 dismal qualities of the unforgiving mind. Are these qualities that you want to have in your life? Do you want to have this fear, to have no room to be yourself, to not have a place where you can spread your wings in peace? Do you want to be torn with doubt, confused? Do you want to see only mistakes, to only see the sins in yourself and in others? Do Do you want to be in despair? Do you have no prospect of a future? Do you want to be so prideful that you don't even ask for help because you think you know all the answers, even though the evidence is clear that your life is just miserable? Fortunately, A Course in Miracles has the answer for all of this. Let's read on. Forgiveness is acquired. It is not inherent in the mind, which cannot sin. As sin is an idea you taught yourself, forgiveness must be learned by you as well, but from a teacher other than yourself, who represents the self in you. Through him, you learn how to forgive the self you think you made and let it disappear. Thus you return your mind as one to him who is yourself and who can never sin. Let's talk about this happy paragraph. We are not born knowing how to forgive. This is something that we have to learn from God. Through forgiveness, we return to our capital S self, our true self, who we truly are, which is love. We want to learn to look on ourselves as this capital S self who can never sin, and also how to see this same in others. All of us are part of the oneness with God and all creation. There is nothing that any of us can do that can remove us from the love of God. Let's read on. Each unforgiving mind presents you with an opportunity to teach your own how to forgive itself. Each one awaits release from hell through you and turns to you imploringly for heaven here and now. It has no hope, but you become its hope. And as its hope, do you become your own. The unforgiving mind must learn through your forgiveness that it has been saved from hell. And as you teach salvation, you will learn. Yet all your teaching and all your learning will not be of you, but of the teacher who was given you to show the way to you. Let's talk about it. This has been a big lesson for me. I automatically shy away from people that I perceive as negative. I don't want to be around them, and I certainly don't want to be around people who hurt me. But I have learned through A Course in Miracles to see these people as being part of me. There's nothing that anyone has done that I haven't actually done myself, or at least thought of. When I remember this, it allows me to immediately go into forgiveness and to send that person love. It doesn't mean that I need to spend a lot of time around them, but it does mean that I need to stay away from judging and condemning. We have no idea how powerful we can be in the life of another person when we practice this. Many people have trouble forgiving themselves. They don't like themselves. But if we can just send them that little bit of love and forgiveness, we can be the hope that they so badly need. Because we are all one, what we give to someone else, we are actually giving to ourselves. If I hold a resentment against you, I'm holding a resentment against myself. If I forgive you, I am also forgiving myself. At the same time, I recognize that none of this comes from me, but from God. God is the being who gives me the strength, who gives me the knowledge, who gives me the willingness, who gives me the wisdom to be able to live this way. Let's read on. Today we practice learning to forgive. If you are willing, you can learn today to take the key of happiness and use it on your own behalf. We will devote 10 minutes in the morning and at night, another 10, to learning how to give forgiveness and receive forgiveness too. This is 20 minutes that the Course is suggesting. 10. Hello. Good morning. Good morning, noisy bird. How are you today? How are you today? Yes, it's good to see you. I don't have my phone, or I would take your picture. I am one with God and all of creation. That bird blesses me more than you know. I think I might have to name him. Learning how to give forgiveness and receive forgiveness too. We will talk more about this at the end of today's lesson. The unforgiving mind does not believe that giving and receiving are the same. Yet we will try to learn today that they are one through practicing forgiveness toward one whom you think of as an enemy and one whom you consider as a friend. And as you learn to see them both as one, we will extend the lesson to yourself and see that their escape included yours. I love how the course is experiential. It tells us how to do these practices and then says that we will see in the experience that they are true for us. As we forgive an enemy, we also forgive a friend, and we see that we forgive ourselves at the same time. The reason for this is that we are truly all one. That is going to be what we experience through this practice, is the oneness with all of these people that we might be holding a resentment against, and especially towards ourselves. Let's read on. Begin the longer practice periods by thinking of someone you do not like, who seems to irritate you or to cause regret in you if you should meet him, one you actively despise or merely try to overlook. It does not matter what the form your anger takes. You probably have chosen him already. He will do. Now close your eyes and see him in your mind and look at him a while. Try to perceive some light in him somewhere, a little gleam which you had never noticed. Try to find some little spark of brightness shining through the ugly picture that you hold of him. Look at this picture till you see a light somewhere within it, and then try to let this light extend until it covers him and makes the picture beautiful and good. If you would like to close your eyes, I'm going to read the next section and invite you to do the practice as I read it. Look at this changed perception for a while and turn your mind to one you call a friend. Try to transfer the light you learned to see around your former enemy to him. Perceive him now as more than a friend to you, for in that light his holiness shows you your Savior, saved and saving, healed and whole. Then let him offer you the light you see in him, and let your enemy and friend unite in blessing you with what you gave. Now are you one with them, and they with you. Now have you been forgiven by yourself. Do not forget throughout the day the role forgiveness plays in bringing happiness to every unforgiving mind, with yours among them. Every hour tell yourself, forgiveness is the key to happiness. I will awaken from the dream that I am mortal, fallible, and full of sin, and know I am the perfect Son of God. You can open your eyes now. This is exactly what our practice first thing in the morning, and then last thing just before we go to sleep. We want to do this exercise. You might want to play this tape again, just to listen to the practice part of the session, where we first choose someone, then we close our eyes, and we think about them. We try to see a light in them somewhere. We allow this light to grow until it completely covers them, and all we see is the light. Then we think of a friend, and we do the same thing. We try to let these lights join into being just a pure beam of light. In that beam of light, we see their holiness. We see that what we would have called our enemy and what we have called our friend, we see that those lights have joined and they have just become one beam of light. And we are also in that beam of light. That light is our holiness. That is the truth of who every one of us is. Allow this holiness to bless you. Allow yourself to anyone that you might be holding a resentment against as your friend, as your Savior. You might ask, why would we call this person our Savior? I will tell you why. These people that bring these resentments up in us are really just bringing up our old pain, our subconscious triggers, if you will. When this comes to the surface, it is ready to be healed. In that way, these people are our Savior, and we are theirs. Isn't that a beautiful thought? So once again, first thing in the morning, last thing just before going to sleep, and as many times as we can think of throughout the day, to just remember that forgiveness is the key to happiness. Thanks so much for listening right until the end, my friends. If you enjoyed today's video, please share the love, tell others about these videos, encourage them to start at lesson 1 and only do 1 lesson a day. Are you ready for our special treat? Thank you to Susan Edge for this incredible video of the iguana in the tree behind her house. Forgiveness is the key to happiness. I hope you have a joy-filled day full of forgiveness and thus full of happiness. I love you.